Oh man, this entire process of this entire board so far has been absolute celestial painful. Well, we'll talk more about it though, Pinkie Pie, because either way, here we are now onto the 4th board in Mario Party Superstars, known as Woody Woods. Oh yeah, I guess that probably explains it, huh? Hey, what's up everybody? It is I, the one and only Pac-Man here. And I'm Pinkie Pie here. Welcome back for you all for the likes of the Mexi Toys videos here, once again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Mario Party Superstars for the Nintendo Switch. So, last weekend is the fact that we did already experience the 3rd board in Mario Party Superstars, which is Peach's birthday cake. And all in all, we did somehow win at the end. So, thanks to the forms of Rosalina, just somehow landed our Bronaplan spot, and we somehow managed able to stall her star, so in this case though, pure dominated victory at the end. So, yeah, for this entire weekend, for today and tomorrow, we're going to be heading on to the 4th board in Mario Party Superstars, and this is known as Woody Woods. And this is obviously based off of Mario Party 3, which is Woody Woods. So, and this might actually be the only board based off of Mario Party 3 does return by that point. So, yeah, unfortunately though, there won't be any more boards based off of Mario Party 3, so this might be the only one at the moment. So, yeah, kind of unfortunate though, to able to get a lot more representation based off of Mario Party 3, but it knows what it is, I guess. So, anyways though, so the opponents wise we've got this time, which we do have, not only we brought back Donkey Kong based off from Yoshi's Tropical Island, and in fact we're actually going to be playing as him this time around on this board, just like the Forms of Power does it on the original version of the board based off from Mario Party 3. And on top of all that stuff though, in terms of those computer players we have, that not only do we bring back Yoshi ever since in Spaceland, but also we brought back Daisy based off from Peach's birthday cake. And finally, we've decided able to bring Waluigi to the table because, well, let's face it, we have not seen Waluigi in action throughout the majority of Mario Party Superstars so far. So, yeah, that might be a perfect opportunity that we can able to actually just to see Waluigi in action. So, yeah, let's get to it with Woody Woods based off of Mario Party 3 in Mario Party Superstars. So basically, the main mechanic of this board is the fact that we actually stumble across into, 3 arrow signs, which, depending on until likely it results until whenever we get to the next turn, basically though, those arrow signs will change directions thanks to Monty Malls. And there are quite multiple methods you can able to actually interact with those arrow signs. Is that you can either just manage able to let the turn end and then just manage able to get all 3 of those arrow signs to be changed. Or, in some cases though, you can land on the event space where you can able to actually change the arrow signs for almost instant. However though, I think there was actually a bit of a change to this though. Well, mind you, it's been a very long time since we actually last played Woody Woods, not just by the forms of this version as you can see, but also the original counterparts on Mario Party 3. But yeah, because as far as I'm aware, unlike in the original version of this board, based off of Mario Party 3, that there's no paper aesthetics this time, so it's all in 3D, so that makes things a little bit more nicer and richer as far as I'm aware. So, although nothing wrong with it per se, but at least it's something as far as, you know, visual changes as far as this is concerned, so. Anyways though, and you probably also noticed is the fact that there's also another differences between the original version of this board than the likes of this version of this board, is that there was that one space that's never brought back, and that's what appears to be Game Guy space, which as a result, the Game Guy space in this board specifically though is no longer present. So, yeah, thank God for that, because let me tell you though, we don't need for gambling. Yeah, or especially noticeable just to force upon you for able to do, you know, gambling stuff as far as I'm aware. So in this case though, let's just go ahead and do flash forward again, although we must still lose this no matter what though, due to well, the hitbox, especially noticeable with certain players always shove us off, so I think Daisy might have got this, so yeah, just because the actual picture image is actually in focus, so yeah, I guess that makes it pretty obvious for that particular result, so. Anyways, though, let's talk about the forms of, oh, there's also another thing I would like to mention when it comes to this board, is that not only do we actually stumble across into, the nice Woody right there, but also the evil Woody as well. So this means it functions pretty much the same way as the forms of how it does it on the original version of the board. Well, basically though, if you meet up with nice Woody, basically though, you can either just obtain one of those two different fruits, which we do have the coin fruit alongside with the dice block fruit. If you get a dice block fruit, basically you get yourselves another reroll. However, if you obtain the coin fruit, basically you get yourselves some coins. So yeah, it's all depending on random dice, so because of this though, you never know how much coins you're expecting to be hopefully trying to get, so but I digress. But if you meet up with the evil Woody, basically though, what I meant to say for this point, and basically you get yourselves the opposite rewards. Like, I think you get the reverse dice block fruit that you have to force to go backwards, and on top of all that stuff though, if you obtain the coin minus fruit, basically though, you're forced to take away coins. And on top of all that stuff though, yeah, I think that's as far as saying goes. I think that's as far as we can able to mention about that stuff though, and lucky Daisy for able to get the hidden dice block, or no, not the hidden dice block, the hidden block, what I meant to say. Oh yeah, that's the perfect example about the fact for today's videos. It feels a bit, I don't know about you, kind of awkward. But before we get into more details onto this though, here we have a new minigame we can play. And this is based off of Mario Party 5, which is Build Blasters. Where basically in this minigame right here, all we have to do here is basically we need to knock every single opponent out for the sake of the forms of 3 hit points each. And basically you have to use the bullet bill in order able to just, well, hit opponents and stuff like that. However, here's the massive differences this time around compared to the forms of how it does in the original counterparts of this minigame, is that, well, you notice about the fact that with the Build Blasters, as far as I'm aware, basically though is the fact that in the original version of that minigame, basically though is the fact that you would be able to actually hit any directions, or to be more specifically, that basically though is the fact that, well, let's just say, for example, if you try to aim diagonal shots, then basically though, if you manage able to hit one of those, well, it's hard to explain because it's been about a very long time since we actually experienced this minigame, not just by the forms of the original version of this minigame, but also with the forms of in, well, just anything else really, just because, let me tell you right off the bat though, as far as what Pinkie Pie has already mentioned about, that, holy macaroni, that the entire portion of this entire uploading schedule in Mario Party Superstars so far is actually getting very slowly recently, not just because of the forms of the lack of, time schedules, but also the amount of emphasis on commentary on one of those segments in Mario Party Superstars has been absolute hell recently. Well, sorry for this little French, by the way, because, well, let me tell you right off the bat, though, this is the reason why it took so long to able to actually get this back up and running for, you know, Mario Party Superstars Let's Play so far. Well, nothing to do with the gameplay footage or anything, it actually runs quite well, except, whenever you do commentary, though, this is where things get a lot more downhill. And because of this though, it's all depending on our stupid laptop just once again lagged again. So, in some cases though, that's every time whenever we finish our commentary, then basically our commentary itself just got glitched. So because of this though, that depending on our laptop has been lagging recently, then obviously though our commentary just glitched up. And because of that though, it just managed able to go completely out of sync, and on top of all that stuff though, it just messes everything up. And yeah, this is the reason why it just took so long to able to actually get this uploading schedule going. So yeah, we do apologize for this, because again, that is just the fact that our laptop is actually getting a bit clogged out recently. So because of this though, not much else to write to home about, I guess. But either way, it's just so inconsistent, you know? But I digress though, so let's talk about the forms of today's discussion by this point, and that is the fact that today's day is of course the, I would say today it is the, is it the 22nd today? I'm pretty sure it's the 22nd of October today. What makes you say that? Oh, just wondered, just because, well, again, this entire process of this recording session has been absolute a mess at the moment, so... But, thankfully, though, we can able to discuss upon, some news and stuff like that. Why the heck not? Oh yeah, just because we haven't exactly mentioned about that for a while, haven't we? Yeah, especially noticeable after the events of this some kind of awkward moments from the likes of the forms of some last few turns on Peach's birthday cake, but either way though, I think it's about time we can now finally mention something new. Like, for example, that we actually got ourselves our, let's just say, some quite a few new teaser trailers to be popped up. Well, we'll get to more in a second though, just because, as you can tell, we're going back into look away. So in this case, once again, we are in a team of 3, so, yeah, let's just see if we can able to actually do a flawless victory around here. Well, despite the fact that sometimes our computer players might have felt a little bit, jerkish at times, but either way, we shall see. Oh, speaking of which, Daisy was out. Oh well, no matter though, but at the very least, we can still survive. Well, Yoshi's out, so we are the only ones left. And let's see if we can survive. Hooray! We did. Nicely done, Pac-Man. Thank you, Pinkie Pie, for able to appreciate my, specific abilities and skills alike. Yeah, I know what you're gonna say for this point, but anyway. Oh yeah, so let's talk about the forms of... Actually, before we get into more details about that though, there's one thing we honestly forgot to mention about. I think it was actually from the likes of the forms of well, let's just say 3 of those boards specifically, which are basically Spaceland, this board, alongside with Horrorland as well. Basically though, is the fact that if you double check on the map, basically though, you might come across into those yellow dots, which actually represents where the star location is going to be. And on top of all that stuff though, is the fact that, well, if you see the actual yellow spots, well, to be more specifically, if you double check on the map board, basically though, that yellow dots will actually represent star locations is where it's going to be placing onto. Because as far as I'm aware, unlike in Spaceland, where you're able to see those star space icons for certain spots on, you know, Spaceland in particular. So in this board, alongside with Horrorland at some point in next weekend, that you might able to actually see those yellow dots on the map that shows you where the star space is going to be located, you know? So yeah, just to able to keep things a little bit more occupied for able to know where the next star space is going to be located somewhere, so... Anyways though, 2 vs 2 time, and let's see what minigame are we playing next. In some cases though, Ancient Catch, and this is based off from Mario Party 3, where 2 players need to work together in order able to draw around the circle, and basically, in order able to obtain a point, by able to actually get the toad, basically you have to draw a circle, and that's pretty much about it. However, the biggest difference is from here though, is obviously the actual aesthetics is now in 3D rather than paper themed, and on top of all that stuff though, is the fact that, well, relatively speaking though, it's just the fact that if you reach for about 5 points or something like this, basically though, that's the only maximum you can get up to at this point, so... Yeah, I was thinking about that, so, excuse me, I'm really sorry about this point, guys, because as far as I'm aware, that we just got a little bit, ticked off for this point today. It's most likely because, believe me, in terms of the forms of commentary-wise, it actually took us about 5 attempts for the sake of the forms of doing this commentary right. It's most likely because, again, that our laptop is actually getting a bit clocked out at this point, so because of this though, yeah, we'll definitely need to pick up a new laptop at some point next year though. Well, depending on the fact that with all these new gaming releases between not only The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, but also Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, and also say applies with other titles here and there as well, so yeah, it's a bit of a nuisance though, especially because, again, that the laptop just keeps on clocking out, you know, so, which also means is the fact that, relatively speaking, we might come across into another frame rate issues, so, or in some cases though, a lot of lag, so because of this though, we do apologize for this point, folks, we honestly do apologize, so... So anyways though, we land on the event space, where basically the actual arrow sign has been switched, so... Yeah, nothing, not much else to say about this. Oh, and also another thing I would like to say is the fact that, relatively speaking, there are, I would say for about 3 shops in this board. Like, 2 of them will actually gives you, like, normal items here and there. One of them is actually on in the bottom middle, alongside with on the top right. That basically it just gives you, like, some simple items and stuff like that. Although, we'll get into more details on that in a second, because here we have Hot Rope Jump, and this is based off of Mario Party 2. Just because of not only of its game's logo, but also that if you start the minigame off, basically though, we actually start things off with blue flames, but until in jump number 5, basically though, is the fact that it changes different color. Specifically, the orange flame flutterboos and stuff like that, so... And also another thing too is the fact that unlike the Mario Party 1 variation of this minigame, as you can tell, that basically though we no need to worry about jump restrictions of how much jumps you're able to jump. Like for example, in Mario Party 1 you only have to jump for about 20 times, and also in Minigame Island, as far as I'm aware in Mario Party 1, they have to jump for about 40 times. And in Mario Party 2 though, in Minigame Coaster, that basically though you have to jump for about 50 times. So yeah, no longer going to be restricted as far as I'm usually concerned with that stuff though, so... But somehow we still win anyway, so... Nicely done for our specific jump timing requirements here and there, but hey, at least it's something to behold. But I digress though, but at the very least we're able to get double the amount of coins though, so that still should be pretty good. At least for now anyway though, so in this case though, yeah, the hours are now changed again, so... Anyways though, so let's talk about the forms of some news announcements in here and there. Like, I know for the fact that it's been a very long time since we actually mentioned about this kind of stuff, so... Well, despite the fact that there's going to be a lot of emphasis on a lot of lag going on around here on our laptop in some cases though, which it always happens at the halfway point of this recording session and during commentary, because, well, it's just so annoying, you know. So, either way though, let's just hope until specifically tomorrow in some cases though, Pac-Man, that hopefully we'll try to able to fix that issue up. Well, depending on certain stipulations as far as this is concerned, so... Anyways though, let's talk about the forms of the first topic for this point today, and that is the fact that, well, first of all, we're still busy playing through Mario Plus Rapid Sparks of Hope, which we still managed to able to enjoy the game still. However though, we were originally going to be able to try to mention about the review score so far, in terms of Mario Plus Rapid Sparks of Hope, but I think we should probably save that conversation until maybe tomorrow, if we got enough time for other news to discuss. Yeah, that might be seems the best solution for this point, Pac-Man, but yeah, you know. So anyways, let's get to the first topic of the news discussions for this point today. First of all, obviously the Game Awards is still happening, thanks to the forms of one of those Twitter drops that somehow managed to tweet, that somehow they did say that Jeff Cayley to somehow mention saying, after a 3-year break, I am so very happy to announce that the public will once again be invited to join us at the Game Awards on Thursday, December 8th at Microsoft Theater in LA. And the tickets will go on sale until on the 1st of November, so just you wait. So, yeah, that seems very surprising, and on top of all that stuff though, that's to be expected with most exciting things is about to be coming up for the sake of the forms of by the end of 2022. So, yeah, things will get a little bit more promising at that one point, so... Anyway, another thing I would like to mention is the fact that out of nowhere, there's actually a new film that has been releasing on exclusively in Paramount Plus, which appears to be by the forms of, let's just say, based off of a preschool, TV series, which appears to be by the forms of Blue's Clues, which apparently Blue's Clues is getting its movie adaptation, which is going to be called Blue's Big City Adventure, which we obviously have no idea why we mentioned about this though, but that's only mainly because, well, we just want to point things out if those of you are interested, so... And I think that particular film is going to be releasing at some point on the 18th of November, which is roughly the same day, as in, for instance, as in it's exactly the same day, as in, well, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet will be releasing on the Nintendo Switch, so yeah, there might be some consumption, I suppose, but yeah, we should probably give that a pass when it comes to Blue's Clues movie adaptation on Paramount Plus, because we are still waiting for the Sonic the Series, Knuckles series from the likes of Paramount Plus until next year, because as far as I'm aware, that we are still practically waiting for that series to come up eventually, so. And also, we somehow gone back into Castaways again, because obviously, thanks to that minigame roulette, decided to choose it for us for some odd reasons, you know? And another thing I would like to mention is that, well, better late than never, I suppose, but happy 20th anniversary of the release of Naruto's existence. Or to be more specifically, we've decided able to celebrate the 20th anniversary of one of those amazing animes of all time, which appears to be Naruto. So, we definitely heard about the character though, but thanks to forms of, remember what Sonic did actually told me back in the forms of a couple of days ago, but at least we somehow managed to download those games into our computer, which we have Super Smash Flash 2 and Super Smash Flash 1, which despite a bit outdated for the first game just because of all that, well, some very weird collusion detection alongside with the actual fighting physics here and there. Oh yeah, because I did manage to able to also test it out as well, but yeah, you might be right. The first game is a little bit outdated right now. So, in this case though, that might be saying something. So, anyway though, in terms of the forms of, well, Naruto himself, is actually a pretty cool character as far as introductioning, as far as I'm aware. Well, mind you, we haven't exactly watched that much of anime of Naruto as much, just because we're still more into the forms of some Dragon Ball Z anime, or Dragon Ball Z Kai, or Dragon Ball Super, for that matter though, just because, well, I can still suffice to say that those two things are probably is the most popular anime of all time, you know? Yeah, it seems very understandable, relatively speaking though, so. Anyway, so another thing I would like to mention though is the fact that, yeah, we somehow go back into Mario Kart Tour again, and this time we are actually playing the next tour, which is actually based off from the Halloween tour, and it turns out, not only does it bring a new driver, or in some cases though a new track, but also we finally got ourselves our new driver from the high-end drivers department. So, like for example, we did manage to able to complete it, the Autumn Challenges number 2, and basically, if we somehow managed able to completely done all the challenges, basically though, we finally got ourselves Captain Toad as a new driver. So, yeah, about time to able to finally get ourselves Captain Toad as a new driver, because, let me tell you though, the Got You Moment system back in the past did screw me up, so. Yeah, I can totally see why that a lot of people seem to be very happy about this particular change when it comes to able to, well, you know what I mean. So anyway though, the next thing we'd like to mention is the fact that we actually got ourselves certain cool announcements. Or let's talk about the forms of some more details about Mario Kart Tour first before we get into some cool stuff. First of all, remember the forms of, if you ever guys ever played Mario Kart Tour, which I highly doubt they aren't, basically though is the fact that in the past few tours ago, that basically you have to stumble across into 12 cups in order able to complete the tour. However though, it's now going to be increasing until, well, let's just say in the battle tour, which we already have for about a few weeks ago, basically though, we have to come across into ourselves about 15 cups. Yeah, 15 cups. It seems pretty crazy, kind of thinking about it. Yeah, and especially noticeable about the fact that, well, luckily we still got to utilize the, well, the quick tickets just to make things a bit faster and stuff like that, but still, it can be felt a bit too much for my liking, so. And, speaking of too much, though, is the fact that, for the love of God, remember the forms of those high-end drivers that we, was able to be so desperate to try to obtain them? Basically, though, the amount of, you know, rubies to obtain when it comes to able to buy not only high-end drivers, but also high-end, carts and gliders alike, what we've noticed is the fact that when it comes to obtaining high-end, high-end carts and gliders, those, those items cost about 100 rupees for each and every single, cart parts and gliders as well. So that's a bit pricey, don't you think? And as far as I'm aware, high-end drivers is actually ridiculous. Like, it is now 150 rupees in order able to spend it on something for high-end characters. So, yeah, it's pretty ridiculous though. Yeah, I suppose that might be seems true in some cases though, you know. And on top of all that stuff though, is the fact that, well, relatively speaking though, we did somehow manage to able to actually access to Gold Pass, again, but this time around though, within a month for free. But then, next thing you notice is the fact that we actually access to 200cc, and, well, it's way too much in 200cc in Mario Kart Tour in my opinion, just because not only do we get ourselves thrashed, but also about the fact that it doesn't really help about the fact that we're still stuck with the forms of that terrible, touchscreen controls and stuff like that in order to able to take control of the car and all that jazz. So, it was not expecting as we've hoped it will be, but either way though, chances are though, it's just, you know, very hard to control, you know. So, anyway, another thing I would like to explain is the fact that, well, generally speaking, let's get into the cool stuff first. First of all, the Sonic Frontiers soundtrack is going to be on its way, which is actually going to call it Stillness and Motion, which, as a result, not only does it contain the 40-page insert book with commentary, but also it actually includes massive 6-disc set, which actually include 150 songs. Jeez, that seems quite a lot, don't you think? And as far as I'm aware, they does manage able to retain the release date, which it should be releasing until, let's just say the December 8th on, well, as far as I'm aware, that's basically the physical CD version of that particular soundtrack is going to be only released in Japan. However though, in the other regions, in England and North America, that basically though, it will able to sort of light of day in digital services, which as a result, yeah, that basically explains it for the sake of the forms of how come Japanese version gets physical stuff rather than digital stuff, which I want to ask though, why? Well, we honestly have no idea, but either way, let's talk about the forms of another topic, and that's what appears to be about the fact that, well, we'll explain more details about the forms of some new stuff that's been happening for the SpongeBob SquarePants The Cosmic Shake, until specifically when we get to the second half of Woody Woods as the entire board itself. In fact, speaking of which though, out of all of the actual boards in Mario Party Superstars, I think to me Woody Woods is probably the weakest board in the entire game. Well, nothing bad per se, it just feels a bit average at best. Well, we still managed able to... Excuse me. We still managed able to point things out with that particular issue ever since in the original Mario Party 3 version of the board. That I remember how Sonic did actually mention about it. Oh yeah, about that. That basically though, he originally did say that he's probably his least favorite board in Mario Party 3, but it turns out it was actually his second least favorite, next to Creepy Cavern. But either way though, it's hard to explain really. But either way though, because I just get the feeling about the fact that this particular commentary sometimes though feels a bit kind of awkward, and we'll have to admit it the right away, just because, well, again, it's just with all that, the laptop is being clocked out and stuff like that, and it makes things a lot more hellish to able to actually just to get back into this kind of stuff, so... But that's just me. But anyway though, let's get to the forms of another topic we'd like to mention, is the fact that, for the love of... Oh, wait a minute, I was gonna think of something, but I think I'll save that for later. So, in some cases though, we actually got ourselves... Well, do you remember the forms of it about 2 days ago? That we finally got ourselves with the forms of in the Switch version of Persona 5R, in this case Persona 5 Royal, at long last, on a Nintendo Switch, well, suffice to say, the other 2 Persona games are also coming onto the Switch, but this time they've got themselves the release date. And because of this though, Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden, those 2 games combined not only were able to release on the Switch and also Xbox systems as well, but also both of these games combined got their release date, and it's going to be releasing until the 19th of January in 2023. So, yeah, it should be a little bit more promising as far as this is concerned. So, anyways though, another thing I would like to explain, speaking of another set of releases, first of all, when it comes to, Sonic Frontiers, is the fact that not only do we get ourselves one of those cosmetic gears just recently, but also later on in next month, potentially speaking, that we were able to get ourselves another cosmetic outfits here and there. Like for example, earlier in October or something, that we actually gave ourselves all familiar shoes based off from Sonic Adventure 2, which appears to be by the forms of some soap shoes. And basically, that particular outfit will make its return in Sonic Frontiers. But here's the catch though, in order able to actually access to that particular thing itself, is the fact that basically, we do need to able to actually access to the newsletter from the likes of the Sonic Frontiers website. And it doesn't matter which platforms you go into, either on the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, or Xbox Series X or S, or Xbox One, or PC Steam, or Nintendo Switch, then obviously you will receive the actual the soap shoes from Sonic Adventure 2. So speaking of 2, here we go on to another minigame based off of Mario Party 2, and this appears to be Bumper Balls, because, as you can tell, we actually revisited onto the Bumpy Hill Island. So in this case though, basically this minigame is pretty simple. Basically, just be the last player standing is the winner, and basically you have to bump every opponent off the actual arena. So yeah, it basically does the fact that that's essentially gonna do here. And also it got the correct music track as opposed to the ones in the top 100, which for some reason they managed to bring the music based off of Mario Party 9. So I honestly have no idea why they managed to make that decision to begin with, but I guess that makes it pretty obvious because of the limitations of the handheld or anything else to be more specific, so you know. But I digress. So, yeah, let's talk about the forms of another thing for Sonic Frontiers, although mind you that we're probably not gonna able to show any spoiler gameplay footage, or even talk about the gameplay spoilers, just because, well, obviously we've only got about a couple of days left until Sonic Frontiers finally comes out. So, in some cases though, another DLC cosmetic outfit you're able to experience, and that will have to be based off from Monster Hunter. And I think that particular DLC is going to be releasing until next month, and apparently it's going to be for free. So everything else will be pretty much come together for the sake of the forms of trying to compare some other stuff from other games you know as well. Like, for example, we're not exactly sure that, well, relatively speaking though, for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, mind you, we did manage to able to sometimes take a break on that game, because we still managed to play through, Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, you know? Clearly because of how the fact that, well, mind you, we've almost done with the game completely. Like, mind you, we've already still got quite a few shrines left. And on top of all that stuff though is the fact that we still got some side quests to go through. And on top of all that stuff though, that's, you know, with that game does have multiple costumes you can wear based off from specific status quotes. Like, for example, with fireproof, or snow ice-proof, or anything else to be more specific, because obviously it's all about survival kind of thing. So, and on top of all that stuff though, with higher defense or attack up. So, yeah, and also sneak, you know, stealth up. So, you know, we're trying to able to sneak past through anything else to be more specific. So, yeah, I guess that makes it pretty obvious of where you're trying to stay for this point. We're not exactly sure if Tears of the Kingdom will also get its costumes back, but I highly doubt it will be. So, yeah, just like it forms of how it does it on Breath of the Wild, you know? So anyways though, let's talk about the forms of another topic for this point today, and that is the fact that Spider-Man Miles Morales is coming to PC also in next month as well. Now I think it's roughly exactly the same day, as in not only the Blue's Clues movie on Paramount Plus, but also with the forms of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet as well for the Nintendo Switch. So in some cases though, yeah, Spider-Man Miles Morales is coming to PC on 18th of November, so yeah, things feel a bit more promising, although, relatively speaking though, Miles Morales is almost going to be 2 years old until specifically next month, after, or just around the same time, as when the PlayStation 5 has finally come to its existence, despite the fact that it's still very hard to obtain a PlayStation 5 every nowadays, just because of the forms of, you know, stalking issues and all that things itself. Yeah, it seems kind of true in some scenarios as far as this is concerned with, so you know. So anyways though, let's talk about the forms of another thing I would like to mention, is the fact that, unfortunately though, certain Marvel films has been delayed, even though we'll talk more about it, specifically until whenever we get to the second half of this board. So, yeah, it's probably for the best, I guess. So anyways though, let's get to the forms of another good news to discuss, and that is the fact that Splatoon 3 Amiibo lineup is not only got its trailer, but also a released trailer as well, or the release date I should say. And that's what it appears to be. It's also coming until November as well. To be more specifically though, Pac-Man is going to be releasing until the 11th of November in this year, so yeah, not long now until that particular Amiibo selections will be able to be releasing during that time. So, yeah, it looks very promising, all things considered. And on top of all that stuff, though, is the fact that, relatively speaking, though, there's also some new series is about to be releasing at some point. Not just by the forms of just recent, which I'll get into more now in a moment, but also until next year as well, which, for instance, Hobo Max Original is getting itself its new releases, or new series rather, which appears to be, or new series as far as I meant to say. I do apologize for that particular commentary, it's a little bit awkward like I said before, just because we're still worried about the stupid process of that particular commentary in mind, so yeah, but hopefully until tomorrow though, once we get to the halfway point, and then we'll take a break for a bit. And because of that though, because the good thing about this is that the game auto-saves, just like the forms of how it does it in, well, you know, any other Mario Party games, when it comes to board games and stuff like that. The only few exceptions here and there, which are, you know what I mean, Mario Party 9, Island Tour 10, as well as Star Rush, and I think the Top 100 as well. Because, yeah, it's a bit unfortunate about the fact that you can't able to actually just, well, save your progress in a mid-game and stuff like that, so yeah, it's a bit of annoying though. But anyway, back into what you're saying, Pac-Man. Oh yeah, there's a new series called Thelma, which is obviously based off from the Scooby-Doo cartoons and stuff like that, which apparently is gonna make things a lot more of a darker tone this time, which it was pretty unexpected whenever I first saw it, because I see there's quite a few blood here and there, so yeah, it makes things a little bit more scary and gruesome this time. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that either, Pinkie Pie, but either way though, things get a little bit more, I don't know, a lot different I guess, I suppose. But either way though, let's just go ahead and get into this next topic of the day. Although, we'll try to able to make things a little bit positive as far as we could. But unfortunately though, there was some bit of a negative news to discuss, and that is, for the love of God, Teen Titans Go is getting another godforsaken season, which it already did happen for about 15 days ago now, which as a result, yeah, Teen Titans Go is now on the 8th season, which, oh boy, I honestly have no idea why they decided able to bring this back. Like, mind you, we haven't exactly watched that much of Teen Titans Go, just because we've lost interest, so, but apart from the fact that they did have the movie out of it during 2018, but still. I just have no idea why they just managed able to go for that solution. So, anyways though, let's talk about the forms of another discussions to make, and that is the fact that until specifically the 28th of October, that basically Monster High, the series, is also getting its new series treatment until 28th of October on Nickelodeon. So Monster High is going to be on there, so yeah, because it seems very obvious that Halloween is actually getting its close by, so makes pretty obvious sense, kind of think about it, able to release something a bit more spooky vibe and stuff like that before Halloween becomes its fruition. So, either way, that's pretty much as far as I can able to actually just try to discuss upon, like, certain stuff as far as I'm aware. Oh yeah, the next thing we'd like to point out is the fact that we have some good news in terms of Cuphead fans, although, despite the fact that we still haven't watched the rest of Season 2 yet, but don't worry, we will get around to that at some point, I'll promise you guys, we will definitely get around to it. For instance, Cuphead, as far as the game itself, has got himself its physical release, which it did happen, and in addition to that though, we also got ourselves its release dates too. So for example though, the release date of the game physically, it did say it's going to be releasing until sometime in this year's December. So in this case, December the 6th. So yeah, it's actually pretty exciting. But before we get into more details onto those though, Pinkie Pie, we actually got ourselves another minigame we can play. This is obviously based off of Mario Party 6, which is What Goes Up. And basically, all you have to do in this minigame is the fact that we need to go all the way up to the top. In fact, it's actually kind of similar to one of those minigames based off of Mario Party 5 called Leaf Leap, except rather than just trying to jump onto those specific leaves of the tallest beanstalk, so instead we have to jump from paratrooper to paratrooper, and that's all there is to it. However though, as you can see on screen, we now got ourselves a new record display this time. So yeah, pretty cool they're able to now have that feature. And on top of all that stuff though, unfortunately though, there's no What Goes Down version of that minigame, because as far as we mentioned this before, there's no day and night cycle. So it's kind of a shame honestly, but either way though, it knows what it is I guess, so. Anyways though, that's what you're trying to say about the forms of the Cuphead is finally gets its physical edition. It's about to be releasing until December the 6th, with, in addition to getting yourself your base game, but also you get yourself your DLC for a pretty good price or something. Well, I don't know. It's so hard to tell, because either way though, that's the reason why that this particular video processing took absolute forever to get into. But hopefully by that time until next weekend or something like that, Pinkie Pie, that things gets a little bit more normal and relative at that point. So, we shall see. Anyway though, and also they got ourselves the collector's edition of the game, which as far as I'm aware, the release date for that is going to be releasing and during at some point also in next year as well, in 2023, sometime in the first quarter. It could be either be January or February or March, depending on the forms of certain stimulations. So yeah, it could be a little bit more interesting as far as, you know, things are concerned. So yeah, it'll be pretty nice as far as that's been concerned with, so. Oh yeah, while on the topic of the forms of certain anniversaries that we've already mentioned about, Naruto is now 20 years old. Also and also during the forms event recently, sorry for a little bit of an awkward commentary as well, I guess. Also during that time is the fact that, you know, you guys even remember watching Wallace and Gromit cracking contraptions? You know, with these 10 short videos as far as I'm aware. Basically, this entire series is now also 20 years old. So in this case though, it's been 20 years ago since when Wallace and Gromit's cracking contraptions came out in 2002. Gee, time flies, doesn't it? Although, Sonic did actually tell me for this once, during the forms of a couple of months ago, that he did mention to me about the fact that he did have a lot of great nostalgia memories when it comes to seeing some crazy, you know, cracking contraptions as far as when he told you this. Well, as far as I can usually tell for the sake of, like, knowing every single nostalgia-based format and stuff like that. But, yeah, at least it's actually pretty cool to look back on it, though. Yeah, which seems very understandable such, so. And then also, there's also another anniversary thing that it did happen for about a couple of days ago now, which appears to be Toy Story of Terror. So in this case, Toy Story of Terror is now 9 years old recently. So yeah, time flies as well too. So and as you can tell, we're now doing crazy colors, but this time we are now doing the boo shape. So yeah, just to make things a little bit different, I suppose. So, I would have liked able to mention something else for this matter though, but I think we should probably discuss upon one last thing for today's video, and that is the fact that I totally forgot there's actually that particular movie of the... Well, let's just say it's not a true Pokemon movie, but it's more accurately a movie compilation kind of thing that, you know, is very similar to certain Disney direct-to-DVD sequels for this matter. Like, for example, we had, you know, Cinderella 2 Dreams Come True, despite its flopped, and also Tarzan and Jane, and Belle's Magical World, the worst example of the compilation film, because, well, Belle's Magical World sucks. Yeah, I know that, especially because, you know, everyone loves Beauty and the Beast as far as the film itself goes. We're referring to as the original 1991 counterpart as opposed to 2017. Well, it is alright for 2017 movie, but it lacks any sort of charm than it lacks of how it does in the original counterparts though, as far as what, you know, certain Disney fans always point things out, you know? Anyways though, yeah, there's actually a new Pokemon movie, which is actually once again exclusive onto Netflix and stuff like that, similar to The Secrets of the Jungle, although, like we mentioned this before, it's like a compilation, episodes all into one particular movie package, which appears to be Pokemon The Arceus Chronicles, and as far as I'm aware, it did already came out for about a month ago in worldwide, or technically 2 months ago for the United Kingdom, and as far as I'm aware, is the fact that the reason why that particular thing exists anyway is to able to promote the actual, you know, Pokemon Legends Arceus game that did came out on the Nintendo Switch during the beginning of 2022, basically, so... Yeah, I was thinking about that, but either way though, that's as far as saying goes, yeah. But then again though, we would like to mention about the forms of certain unfortunate events for certain Marvel films has been delayed for the sake of the forms of, well, some days time and stuff like that, and also a couple of years or something like that, but again, we'll have to mention more about it until whenever we get to the second half of the board. Makes sense, I guess, because either way though, that's saying something, so... Oh, son of a... So it looks like Waluigi just used the trump call while we almost approaching to the star, but then we somehow managed able to land on that bank space kind of thing about it, because after all, we received 30 coins out of it, which is, well, pretty cool and awesome at the same time as well, so... Nice for us though, especially noticeable despite the fact that we've almost got 3 9s in a row, and that way we get ourselves about roughly 27 movements, but it was awfully quite close, kind of thing about it. So it looks like that Daisy just somehow switched over to Waluigi. I'm guessing it's probably because she really wants to get that star so badly, although... Mind you, she was on 3rd during that time though, although she did somehow scoot over Waluigi, kind of thing about it, so... Alright, Burnstyle, so let's see how this is gonna turn out. Despite last time, we somehow failed due to that awful timing jump that we actually somehow screwed up on, so... Let's just hope we're not gonna able to mess things up this time, well, I highly doubt that we will still lose due to, well... how much chaotic that minigame can be sometimes, but either way though, because relatively speaking though, there's not much right to home about when it comes to like, well, anything else where that resides, so... Alright, it's gonna have to able to... Oh, Yoshi's out! Oh, drat! We're literally lost. I know, especially noticeable because it gets a bit chaotic like you said before, but either way though, we'll take a loss anyway, so between both Waluigi and Daisy, both managed to got 20 coins, so I guess that's nothing else to say about this, so... But at the very least though, we now move on to the halfway point, which looks very promising, all things considered, but we'll see.